everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, as per your present locations. So, hope you all are doing well. I am Sneha Tambe from Samsung R&D. A warm welcome to you all for our webinar on Samsung Knox Partner Program, KPP, Creating a Brighter Digital Future with our education partners. So today, we will give an introduction of education vertical under KPP by presenting some emerging trends, and our partners, Teachmint, KidsLoop and Chrysalis, will cover the innovative solutions and benefits of our Samsung Galaxy ecosystem in education. So let me take this opportunity to introduce our partners and our very special speaker panel for today. So first we have Teachmint Technologies from India. They have the mission of democratizing online education, and they are working towards achieving it by reimagining the infrastructure of education and building the future one classroom at a time. We have with us Raj Kothari from Teachmint. He is the partner and director of business at Teachmint. And we also have Ekansh Bansal from Teachmint. He is the head of international business at Teachmint. So welcome Raj and Ekansh. Our next partner is KidsLoop from South Korea with a beautiful and noble vision to bring the gift of learning to every child. They aim to transform early years education by providing tools and asset libraries to digitize content, collect data, and make personalized learning paths for every student. We have Jenna Shin from KidsLoop. She is the Chief Revenue Officer for APAC region for KidsLoop. So welcome, Jenna.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
And we have KidsLoop and we have Chrysalis from India. They are the strategic partners of KidsLoop in India. With the vision to awaken the human potential in every child, they believe in creating an education system in India that emphasizes the development of critical and creative thinking skills in students, sharing the dream of an education system which brings out the extraordinary human potential in every child. From Chrysalis, today we have Chitra Ravi. She is the founder and CEO of Chrysalis. Welcome, Chitra.
Thank you. Thank you, Sneha. Thank you all.
And yeah, thank you. And from our Samsung team, we have Faisal Ali, who is the education vertical lead at Samsung R&D Bangalore. Welcome, Faisal.
Hello, everyone.
So, can we move to the next slide, please, Faisal? So, education is today's wisest investment for tomorrow's brightest future. With hybrid and remote setups becoming the new norm versus face-to-face interactions, it's only right that we adapt with the changing times, especially when it comes to educating the next generation. So with that said, now I call upon my colleague Faisal to take you all through some interesting trends in education and introduce you all to the benefits of Samsung devices and our Knox solutions for education. Over to you, Faisal.
Thank you, Sneha. Welcome everyone to today's KPP webinar session. So in today's presentation, what I'll be covering is a very brief, the effects and the impacts of pandemic, the trends and the growth of the industry, where it is moving towards, a few aspects of or the pain points that the various actors in the education system face, how Samsung with its devices, the Knox IT solutions and its partners would like to meet the requirements from the industry, to cater to the academic devices and solutions, right? So without further ado, I'll quickly dive into this presentation. Just a sec. UN has been working closely with a lot of governments across the globe, trying to understand and help with the sustainable development goals, right? The sustainable development goals being, the 17 factors that the UN has identified as a primary factors there are 17 factors that have been highlighted by United Nations that are imperative or important for the growth of not only developing nations but developed nations as well. These development goals range from the health, equality, life above earth, life underwater, so everything is covered. And in that, it has been identified that education is one of the most important factor, right? Now, during their analysis of the East Asia and Pacific region, they identified various characteristics and shared their analytics, right? Pre-COVID era itself, we had 35 million children who were having, who do not have access to the quality education or did not have access to the schools due to various factors, be it geographical location, due to which they did not have a school in their nearby vicinity, language being a big barrier because of which the students drop out of schools, disability, the facilities that are required to cater to differently abled people, temporary abled people. So those were not available, due to which children could not attend schools. The pandemic just exacerbated all these challenges and added some more to them. That pandemic led to disruptions wherein infrastructure had to be quickly revamped. Schools had to move from an offline classroom system having a blackboard and a chalk based tool to a completely online system where everybody had to adapt very quickly. Not only that, the varying waves, the increase in the cases, up and downs, led the government and the parents pressurize the system as to recurringly close the schools so as to safeguard the children for their health, right? Now, not only this, what was also identified that because of this, 80 million children could not continue their classes, mainly because of not having the right equipment in the form of hardware or software available to them to learn at home. This was a big impact that the education system faced. Now, though pandemic did affect the whole education industry, the industry also started to adapt to it. We saw, calls being made to the governments to revise its approach towards the, one sec. A lot of initiatives, a lot of reforms were required so as to bring up the whole digital education system on par with the existing system. There were concerns regarding the job security, employability, and future readiness of the people, so that they are ready to meet or cater to whatever is being thrown at them, right? The demands of the organizations that were employing, they wanted the people to have core skills, willingness to learn, and have the keen insight so that they can tackle any upcoming challenges that may come. Along with that, be ready to transform themselves with new skills in the fields of data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so on, right? So the whole concept being to move from a teacher-centric learning platform to a student-centric learning platform, incorporating online education that brings in personalized education experience that can be accessed anytime, anywhere, giving the flexibility to the students to study whenever, wherever they want to, revise any concept, go through those papers, and be ready to uh, uh, go ahead in the future, right? Now, there are key drivers that has started to see the education, online education leapfrog, right? Amongst those, the major as two drivers being the young population that is up and coming, and their access to smartphone at a very young age with internet are the key drivers that can help the online education move forward. Parents are now willing to spend whatever available disposable income so that they can provide their kids with a quality education. And with the support from the government, digital initiatives, this is something that will transform the whole industry. Now, in this industry, I like to categorize few the a whole breakup of the students into 5 categories so as to we can meet their demands accordingly, right? The first category is primary and secondary supplemental education, wherein a student goes for additional supplement uh, learning classes or services that are available to them so that they can refresh whatever concept, whatever topics they have already gone through and be ready for their examinations and further studies. Test preparation is a huge category within the education industry wherein a lot of students prepare for the competitive examinations, namely IIT JEE in India, wherein they want to move from their higher education to the college for the graduate studies, right? Reskilling and online certifications catering towards mostly to people who are already employed who want to reskill themselves with new courses, the enhancements that are coming in the field, and look for either a transition or to cater to the future needs of their organization. We have higher education coming in to aid or enhance whatever being done in the graduate to move towards postgraduate. Lastly, we have casual learning or the language-based learning, not something related to academic, but people who are willing to learn more, who want to adapt to the scenarios where people have either moved to a remote location for work-related activities or academic-related activities themselves, right? Now, this is where the online education trends to come in. Now, for the current scenario that we see with the schools and the institutes opening, we see online education, which was already moving to soar further, right? But in this whole hybrid based approach, wherein students will be joining a classroom by being physically present in an offline format or by joining remotely through tools like video conferencing tools or the various platforms available. It will not be that the online education will substitute the traditional classroom. The whole aspect of the industry will be that the virtual classroom and the value added services associated with these, whether it be in the form of contents, whether it be in the form of additional services, will aid in bridging the gap that the current education system has, right? The aim being to bridge the gaps wherein students are looking for new ways of learning, whether it be interaction with the content, AR/VR formats, relevant topics being covered, test preparations and assessments in real time so as to have a better feedback, better communication, analytics available, and enablement for the teachers through smart classrooms so that they can cater to all these needs, right? So this being the hybrid approach is something that will be the norm in the coming future, not the coming future, in the almost near future. Now, during our introspect of the industry of the education system, when we had engagements with various actors, whether it be schools, the faculties who are in within these schools, and the students, we saw a lot of pain points being raised during the current scenario, pandemic scenario, right? From an institute perspective, they were bounded by the real estate that they have, a school building with grounds and amenities associated with them. They cannot grow further. budget constraints to leverage all the existing infrastructure and the new systems that are coming in. Availability of the faculties is a big issue, with quality education being the new requirement coming in, right? The IT infrastructure, the IT admins available have relatively low to zero experience. The administrative challenges that were brought in because of the adoption of the new technologies, how to cater to the books and the required services that needs to be given to the kids. Fees, financial management, faculty management, timetables, all these things became little difficult for the administration, right? On top of it, all these started to affect the institute's performance in the form of their own financial performance, plus the students' performance because of the difficulty in adoption of the new technologies. In all this, teachers had to adapt the most. They had to frequently upskill themselves so that they can understand the new technologies that are coming in, and on top of it, had to do a lot of background work so that they can prepare the right content and an engaging content so as to ensure that students remain attentive in the class. They had limited classroom time for engagement with the students so that they can work more closely with the students, reduce time for a feedback or communications with the student so as to help them further their skills, and if there is any weak point, they can work on it. As I said, right, teacher had to do a lot of background work. It required innovative approaches so as to ensure that the students do not, lose interest and try to find ways so as to be distracted, right? On top of it, to ensure that whatever they have been going through, whatever is being taught and will be taught in the future, they can link all of it together, right? Lastly, from a student's perspective, uh, moving to a new technology using the smartphones or the tablets or the laptops, they did not have the face-to-face interaction with the teachers. They could easily get distracted. So they wanted some new ways so that's to learn, right? Engaging content, interactive platform where they can provide their inputs. Not only that, with the access of internet now abundantly available to them, they had a lot of content in the form of YouTube, Wikipedia pages, blogs available to them. They did not have the idea which is the right content to go through for them. Moving on, then we had the undefined progress parameters. We have, they do not have the capabilities, or the convenience as to how to practically apply whatever they have gained in the form of knowledge or learnings. Lastly, the affordability or the conveniences that they did not have. Right? So what is the major roadblock that any of student or a faculty faces as of now? I would like to bring up a poll. Sneha, if you can help me with that. Whether it be just the hardware access that is needed, whether there is a need of the hardware and the software that can help, or whether will it be just the software that is necessary to ensure that the right education is available for the students. Right. We'll let the poll run for 30 seconds. We'll wait for everyone to give inputs and then we'll move further. Thank you guys for voting in. We'll close the poll now. Right. Right. So what Samsung brings to the table? Now, when we break out the whole system, we can understand from an institute standpoint, there is an in-class management and an out-class management. In-class management being giving the access to the content, giving the access, the homework assignments, the examinations, all those for the students' perspective. From a classroom perspective, for the faculties, enablement to create content, distribute content, create assignments and examinations, easy evaluation of it, providing analysis of the whole evaluation of the assignments and examinations, reporting, and the feedback that's associated with it. The outclass management in the form of the administration tools, whether it be the staff management, student management, finance management, content security, so on. Added to it, the attendance, timetable, scheduling, everything will be a part of it. Right now, how Samsung binds the whole ecosystem is for all these systems, right? We have partners who have joined in who will be talking about these. While with the Samsung, the tablets, along with the Knox IT solutions that can help deploy these solutions and manage these solutions on these devices, along with the content and these platforms, would like to provide academic devices, be it for faculty, be it for the students, or for the administrative purposes with the IT admin as well as the staff administrations, to make the whole ecosystem ready to move forward, right? So I'll take a pause here. We'll talk about the Knox IT solutions and the hardware device features catering towards the education vertical that assists the students with the learning and the faculty with the teaching. And would like to introduce Jenna from KidsLoop to take over and present their solution. Over to you, Jenna.
Thank you, Faisal. Thank you for sharing the latest industry trend that sets the ground to really start our discussions. Thank you. I would like to share my screen. Okay. So I'm assuming everyone can see my presentation here, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Faisal. So I would like to begin my presentation. Let me start my presentation by looking back to the look of classroom, how it has been evolving. Definitely over the last 100 years, the look has not been changing a lot, whether it was 100 years ago in the year of 1920 or 40 years ago, or even 10 years ago. The look have not really been changing a lot across over the last 100 years. If you click, but Faisal, if you could click. Yeah, but it is really after COVID that the look of classroom has drastically changed. Besides the fact that everyone and every student sadly had to wear a mask and having big spaces between us instead of staying close to each other, it wasn't common to see some technology and devices coming into the classroom, as well as expanding the definition of classroom. It's not only limited in the physical classroom or in school. They really tear down the boundary because the learning can take everywhere, at home or out of school or wherever a student is. That's where the learning has to take place, because there sometimes we have to we face technical difficulties or physical difficulties coming to school, but regardless, learning had to take place. Next page, please. I hope you can see little details here. This was the research result done by an intelligent agency called Human IQ. They are research and intelligence company producing a lot of insight around edtech industry. And very interestingly, this was the research result that was taken exactly 2 years ago, right after this COVID broke out to a worldwide scale. There was a survey that was done among all the educators when we think disruption or transformation will take place for the education industry as a whole. Coming from the top left-hand corner, the answer that the disruption and digital transformation will come over the next 24 months takes the biggest share across the whole region, whether it is Africa, Asia, LATAM, or US. The biggest portion of educators and anyone related to the education industry said the change will take place within the next 24 months. And to your right, across the whole education sector, whether it is pre-K or even the career learning, higher ed, they all said, the biggest portion of the educators said the change will come within the next 24 months. And regardless of the size of education, they all said the change will come in the next 24 months. If we look at the history of these answers, before COVID, we all, everyone in education industry expected change will be coming, but not as immediately as they were looking at the trend 2 years ago. And funny enough, we are standing at this point after that 24 months. So what has changed and how are we doing? Next page, please. Thank you. This is a research that was done, an analysis that was done by Boston Consulting Group. And this was recently published. They were checking across different industries that how each industry is performing around the digital transformation. Education falls under public sector, and very sadly, we as a holistic education group, we are not doing very well compared to all the other sectors such as consumer, banking, insurance. We are not creating a lot of success cases comparatively, and we are not yet there in terms of digital maturity. If we go next page. Faisal shared some insight around this, but what really is the challenge? We knew and we anticipated the disruption is coming, and we tried over the last 24 months, but we are not delivering a lot of success in the field of education sector. So what are the challenges? There are many different challenges, and I was kind of thinking to take some quick polls amongst the audience. So if all the attendees could pick one that you think is the biggest blocker towards the successful delivery. Maybe 15 more seconds.
Right.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. And what's our answer? Faisal, Sneha, can you show the result? Okay. Lack of holistic solution. That comes up number 1, followed by worse learning, by bipolarization, and also lack of student engagement. Thank you so much for the participation and input. If we go back to the presentation.
Just a second.
Yeah. The answers from worldwide, any part of the world, is very consistent with our answers just now. The top 5 most frequent challenges faced by school that keeps coming up is the first one is student engagement. So the teacher having a hard time how to coach, how to lead each of the students, that comes up as one of the number 1 all the time. And also learning by polarization, because some students still have access to the private education or remote learning, while others don't have access at all. And that imposes this need to the teachers that, oh, okay, instead of having the class as one fixed entity, there is even further grown need that the teacher has to coach each individual student, understanding where they are, and coach in differentiated manner through adaptive learning. And also, as you pointed out as the number 1, if the approach is not ecosystem based, if the approach is not holistic way, then the result is not going to be very effective, because with many technology solutions, the teacher will be just swamped by the upskilling training, not really focusing on how I could improve the learning result of the student. And also data issue that wasn't mentioned here, but the technology has to be easy to utilize for the benefit of teacher and student, and also it has to be managed in a safe and secure manner. The last part, but that's not least, the access to the proper hardware. As Faisal mentioned, there were so many students just because of the lack of access to the proper hardware that really drove a lot of people out of education, sadly. So access to the proper hardware itself and having the suitable system for the management is one of the frequent challenges that came up. Next page. We are KidsLoop. We aim to deliver digital transformation with data-driven learning ecosystem. Just because I said digital transformation and learning ecosystem, we don't mean that everyone in the world has to come on KidsLoop without any offline learning, etc., and that will solve all the education issues that we are facing today. That's not how we see the industry of education. The education is a living thing, and there are many different stakeholders, including parents, teachers, and device providers, software providers, and the technicians. And we have to work together in good harmony towards improved learning that is hopefully for each of the students in adaptive way. How we are contributing? We are contributing in some different ways. The first one is, unlike many other solutions that are available in the market, we are all in one. On KidsLoop, the teachers can digitize their own content in interactive manner and deliver that created lesson plan in various formats. That same lesson plan could work for in-class, physical in-class delivery, or remote real-time delivery, or the teacher could allocate that for a specific student as a homework. And each stage, the metadata is attached to the content and also to the delivery. So the report is auto-generated, the grading is automatically done. delivering the actionable insight to the educators. So everything on the single platform, that's what we are. And we focus very much on the student engagement. Not one way, the learning has to be two ways. The material, the lesson plan that you can create on KidsLoop platform is interactive. So teacher can play and lead the class, but at the same time, teacher could give control to the student so that they can engage with the lesson plans and lesson materials that had been created on this platform. And also, depending on the performance of the student and the achievement against the learning outcome that was set, the automatic the learning recommendation takes place depending on the individual student performance. So we say we are very much aware of student engagement is one of the key factors for the education success. We take data security very seriously. We comply with GDPR, and we certify ISO 27001 by end of its first half. And also our platform is very flexible, and we not only just roll out this platform, but also we run the customer support team who will make sure that intended learning objective from each of the schools and institutes are met with our support. Next page. Next page, please. Okay, so where do we look at for data? Data starts from the content. So with the content, for what age and for what grade is this content for? Is this content served best for what learning outcome? And is it in the form of video, audio? Is the language intended for lower graders, upper graders? Adding meta layer to the content is the starting point of delivering meaningful insight at the end of the circle. So that's where the content comes in. We have a long history of digitizing our own creating and digitizing our own content. That's internal, but we work with a lot of world-leading publishers to digitize their content in more meaningful format, so they can stay relevant beyond the offline books, but also online learning field as well. And second point is interaction. Next page, please. Yeah. That lesson material and lesson plan that was created on KidsLoop platform, we offer various delivery formats. So it can be delivered in class, it can be delivered as a homework, or it can be delivered for the remote live class, just the one we are having. So it can be used in any cases of education scene. And recommendation, finally. Next page. Yeah. Goes beyond auto-generated report. On the left-hand side, you know, a lot of edutech company produce this report. We do have that report as well. But what's important on the right-hand side is through the auto grading, when the learning is taking place real time, our system is equipped to recommend based on the learning outcome achievement, and also based on the score. Our platform is equipped to suggest different learning paths per student. So even if in the same class, each student, of course, will vary depending on their learning and the mood, the performance will be different. And the education scene has to understand and has to match and tailor the learning suggestions for the optimal learning outcome. That's how we are doing on the KidsLoop platform. Next page, please. I would like to share just a couple of examples. I mentioned at the beginning that we are not pushing just everyone drop offline learning and bring every student on KidsLoop platform. That's not how we look at the scene of education. So this is what we call, this is blended offer, what we call Bada Kinder. This is a blended offer of daytime play video for the preschoolers, along with the books. The picture is here, but the activity books and the workbooks, they can do offline. But we offer digitized format with meta layers to it, the same thing, so that they can do the same activity with the teachers in case they cannot make it to school or to the kindergarten, or even after the physical lessons, they get this as a homework and extend their learning experience from kindergartens to their home, interacting with the parents. And at the same time, the parent and the teachers can see and monitor how each student is making progress and performing, where they are strong and where they fall short, so that they get enough nudge and the sense how to coach and teach this student moving forward. Next. Yeah, another example is after-school tutoring in Korea. A lot of after-school tutoring institute in the private sectors. Private education is, by the way, very, very popular in Korea, and the subject really is limitless. It goes beyond the language, math. It also includes music, play-based learning, etc., etc. They have started working with us to ensure the education can stay relevant, whether it is offline or whether it is online, beyond the geographical limitation and beyond the subject limitation. Next page, please. And again, device also plays a key role, because we would like our kids to focus on the learning rather than playing or having to think of, okay, how do I get certain thing right, or I got my device stolen, etc., etc. Many different cases. We recommend Samsung, one of the top solutions for the devices, not only because of it is high quality, but also its software and care for the student. So we work closely with Samsung as well. Next page, please. Okay, so I will after me, Chitra, the founder and CEO of Chrysalis, will share more vivid examples from India. But before she comes on the stage, I would like to play a video for all of us. This is our vision for the soon-to-be future delivery, where the student engagement is further guaranteed and the flexible rollout can be done with any type of education partners with us. If you could play the video, please. Thank you.
Introducing
Faisal, I think sound is not really played here.
Is this audio not?
Yeah, so thank you, Jenna, for that presentation which set the context, and thank you, Faisal and Sneha, for this opportunity. As Jenna and Faisal introduced, I'm Chitra Ravi. I'm the founder and CEO of Chrysalis. Chrysalis started way back when startup was not even a terminology, I guess, and with the pure passion of transforming the education system, classroom by classroom, if I may say so. And currently we work with over 1,000 schools. We are in not the supplemental education alone. We are actually with the teachers and the school pedagogy, so that we are able to use that 40-minute, the famous 40 minutes, which we all, sometimes want the bell to ring, sometimes we don't want the bell to ring in 40 minutes. We all remember 40 minutes though. So we are there to create that impact through the right teaching learning methodologies, the right materials for students. And that's been our beautiful journey. I've completely enjoyed my 20 years of being in the education space. Now, when you look at the recent strategic partnership we've struck with KidsLoop, it came out of the pandemic, where we felt that pedagogy and understanding each persona in the school ecosystem, be it the teacher, be it the school administrator, be it the parent, and not to forget the child, for whom I think all of us are working, right, the students. We felt the need for a very futuristic technology that would help in a hybrid model in the schools that we largely work with. I think Jenna touched upon the blended or the hybrid learning model, but I think it's very clear, I'm sure my friends from Teachmint will agree, that the way to go in the future is the right combination of the human interface. I'm just calling that the blended part, and then of course the enabling technology and the beauty of technological innovations that can give the student anytime, the teacher anytime advantage, and lead on to a very successful adaptive personal journey for the child in our case, because KidsLoop and Chrysalis works primarily in the formative years space. I mean, I typically think that, and Faisal also, one of your slides presented that, educational companies can be two kinds: one the test prep and the other the life prep. Preparing one for life. And I think Chrysalis and KidsLoop, we look at the holistic education needs and we say we are preparing the student for the life. Yeah, Faisal, you can move on. Sorry, I don't have the control, so I need to. Yeah, so I'm not getting it here with the paucity of time, and I want, I'm sure Raj and they have a lot to say as well. But we all know that the Indian edtech industry is in its best form currently, even in monetary terms. I say even in monetary terms because whenever people say that you are in the hot education industry, I tell them I'm primarily in the heart industry, because I deal with children's heart. So I'm just saying there is also much to talk about, the number of startups and the number of schools that India offers, and the number of students whom I think it needs 5 other countries in other continents to even get this number. So there's a huge opportunity of how we democratize and how we make this available for everyone and give them the power of learning. Moving on, I wanted to quickly also say, when it comes to India now, there have been 2 movers and shakers. One is the pandemic, of course, this is universal, but at the same time, we also had the new education policy that came into effect. A lot of thought, let's forget the policy itself, but the journey to that policy, so many years, and I've been here for 20 years, and I can say that, what has come up is a thought that has accumulated and evolved over the last 20 years. Then a new education policy is talking about virtual labs for high technological interventions. It recommends the artificial intelligence, machine learning driven data analytics for assessment. I mean, I think be it healthcare, be it education, and here we are talking about education. If we crack the DNA of every child, then we are able to give them the right thing, right? So that's where these algorithms and artificial intelligence and the human intelligence leads to assessment data points. That is so important. Otherwise, we are going to have a, no equity is going to come into education. The pandemic has been propelling greater adoption. The schools with whom we've worked for several years, and it was such a hard thing for us to make the teacher go into a device. Today she comes and says, I don't need you to come to my school. Just give me like whatever, give me an online thing. So the power of the device and the software in the hands of all these users, be it the parent, I've been a parent, who've been so fussy about letting my children use devices, but today we are all like nudging them for the right reasons. So I think that's been a great propeller. And of course, not to miss the beauty of visual content. A teacher needs to endeavor. She's 20% of her class is extremely happy with her way of teaching, and then there's a 40% who are like indifferent, and a 20% who are like, I wish I wasn't in this class. But with this personalized visual content, I think we are able to actually see how it can be so personalized and so dramatically unique to every student. And of course, data-driven student reports. And I always say that reports has to be unique for the user, like the teacher, and a consumer, like the parent. Because if you get a medical report, and you just go onto the internet and freak out as if you were going to die tomorrow, but the doctor looks at it and says, hey, I know what to do with you, don't worry, right? So that is the way we look at reports about students, one for the different stakeholders, and gamification, incentive-based learning, and all the terminologies we use today, like edutainment, if at all. I mean, I think it could be even a myth, but all that can come into just in the hand of the the devices that we are so talking about that can take it to the next level. I see very soon that people like Samsung coming into this space in a very focused way. Students are not only going to be, they're not going to be struggling with the bag, bag heaviness. They can come in lighter, they could go back with, definitely I'm a big propellant of writing, reading, and all that, the book, even the smell of the book, that all that is offered to the student. But I'm sure the closest can be a device like what we are talking about here for them to have, pave their own path. So that's the macro trends for you. And moving on, we are here committed, making the best partnerships available across for our journey in schools. Very passionate about how we can integrate change dramatically the tech behavior by schools, and that needs a kind of a consultancy and a coaching approach, which is what we do. And I also think that most of these startups today should focus on the role-centered design of the product. We are uniquely poised, right? In education, we cannot just cater to one stakeholder. We have to cater to the parent, to the student, the teacher, and even the school administrator. So how do you look at each of these roles and create role-centered design? I think we all talk about personas and all of that, but that needs so much of in-depth understanding of learning. And I can say for sure that a B2C product should be significantly different from a B2B product. It doesn't just work either way. I also think there is a school tech solution, Spectrum, and we have partnered with basic ERP players who work with, hygiene, administrative aspects, and offer a whole wide spectrum from a school tech solution to education ed tech solution. And I wanted to bring in the difference here, though I've made a spelling mistake, and I'm sorry about that. I'm a grammarian, and it kind of stings me right now. It's school tech solution. And then also help schools in meaningful use of technology, right? Learning outcomes based reports. So we think at Chrysalis and at KidsLoop, that it's so important that whatever content and the platform that we are offering should be so tightly linked to pedagogy. And the teacher is already hard pressed for so much time, and we should not be adding to her heaviness and baggage. So certain things like automated assessments, giving her the right dashboards, all that is really, really going to be the future. And that's where we as Chrysalis, we've been always the friend of the school, never the stage on sage, but we think that we are here to, you know, assist and support this ecosystem. And very passionate about adaptive learning, because our vision says awakening the human potential in every child. And we know that the human potential in every child and every one of us here is so unique and special to us. And I can't become Faisal, and Faisal can't become me. And that's what we don't want to happen in this ecosystem. And that's where we feel technology, be it the software or the applications and the hardware, needs to be thought about from a user point of view, be it the child, be it the teacher or the parent. And I think, like Jenna said, we also really think that the hybrid learning is a great way, especially in the formative years. They need the social emotional skills that come with the offline model, but there and here it should be a seamless transition, and it has to be one thing that really caters to the child. So that is what we'd like to say. I've always said that the school stakeholders are like gardeners, right? The child is the seed, and when you say the gardener has to provide every nutrient to pollinate and to help the seed become the tree that it's meant to be. And for that, we need the right pedagogy, the apt content, the right technology enablement, and of course, the likes of Samsung to bring the right hardware. Like you say, soil, sunlight, and all that for the plant. I think these are all the factors that's going to help us carve a big way. To all the people here, including my co-panelists, I think we should be very sensitive that we are in this space, and it is not just about the valuation, but it is about the value creation of what we are going to do, because every step that we take could make us create a much beautiful world. And that's why I think we are all spending time in this ecosystem. Thank you so much, Samsung. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Teachmint. Lovely being here.
Thank you, Chitra. Thank you, Jenna, for taking us through, a very informative, a very lovely session, giving us insight about the products and the Indian industry. Glad to have you. It's our pleasure to have you alongside with Samsung presenting, and hopefully we can look forward to a beautiful future. Now I would like to invite Raj, along with Ekansh, to take us through their offering on Teachmint. Just a sec. Raj, over to you.
Thank you so much, Team Samsung, for arranging this wonderful webinar. So thank you again, Samsung, for arranging this wonderful webinar and inviting us to be a part of it. So Teachmint Technologies Private Limited, a very young company, and it's one of the fastest growing edtech companies in the world, with a 400 employees team working on a mission to build, mobile first and user-friendly edtech infra for educational institutes around the world. We have presence in 35 plus countries. We are working with 4,000 plus institutes in India and across the globe. And currently we have 14 million users on our platforms. Next, please. Yeah, so a quick, within 2 years time, we have reached to this level. So we are envisioning a place where each and every educational institutes around the world should not feel like they are not with the best of the technology tools to deliver the quality which students and teachers deserve to come into and engage and learn and teach. That's the basic idea behind this company's foundation. And we are one of the largest online teaching platform outside China. Next, please, Faisal. So this company was started by 4 young IIT graduates with consulting, business and technology experience. And we have a team of young and passionate professionals from some of the renowned institutes from India and around the world. And we have been backed by some of the large investors and VC groups of the world to fuel our vision to build this for the world. Next, Faisal. So Teachmint currently is offering 4 different product lines to the international audience. My Class Campus is a full-fledged management solution, which is kind of a 360-degree management tool to help any educational institutes go digital. Pocket Study is an integrated learning management system, which is having proprietary virtual classroom technology designed by a team of Teachmint engineers, which is uniquely crafted to help teachers deliver the best and students to learn the best with whatever low internet bandwidth they may be having in any of the geographies of the world. Then we have TeachTech, exclusively designed to power edtech companies to deliver videos as a service solutions. And then we have Teach More, which is helping teachers, individuals, coaches, experts to launch virtual courses. Today, I am more focusing on the My Class Campus part, so we are going to jump onto that. Next, please. My Class Campus is a school management system with 40 plus advanced modules. Please, next. Yeah, so school management covers 5 different aspects. First is admission process. That's where students come in to join an institute. Then comes fees and finance management. Then comes academics part of managing things. Then operational management activity. And then most important, the teaching activity. These 4 pillars of an institute, 5 aspects of the institute or a school or a college, which overall, I mean, represent the activities of an educational organization. So online admission, why online admissions? I am very much, I mean, ambitious that in next 1 or 2 years, most of the schools will go paperless in admissions. We all have seen parents are lining up at the admission office and filling the offline forms. And then what happens after those offline forms? The administrative team spend weeks and weeks to digitize those data in Excel files. That's where they get consumed for all the admission process. Why can't we envision a 2-day admission process? A school announcing an admission and within 2 days they are finishing everything with all the students' data digitally accessible on the system. That's what we are aiming through the tools. So it's like dynamic admission form creation based on the school's requirement, full-fledged inquiry CRM to power operations for the counselors, follow-ups and reminder mechanism in the tool, communication to the parents about the schedules, counseling sessions, interviews, or any of the one-on-one sessions. Then merit list generation if it is merit-based admission process, and then finalizing an admission. All of this one go on a system, and a parent need not to come to the school campus to submit the application. Once the admission process is done, then comes fee and financial activities, because only source of income for an institute is fee collection. So managing that effectively and quickly is critically important. Next, please. How does the fee management works? So there are different fee categories to collect the fees. Then fee installments, considering the school's own structure and philosophy of giving flexibility to parents. Then dynamic fee receipt generation. Then fee due reminders to parents. Collection centers, a school campus or maybe a multiple campus school can have, I mean, multiple options for fee collection centers and the accounting staff to serve the parents about the offerings, managing all of that and giving a flexibility of online and offline fee payments to parents can simply ease the overall fee collection operations, and then eventually giving dynamic report options for the management and financial people of the school to reduce the time investment on all of these activities so that they can focus more on other parts of the school operations. Beautifully crafted and seamless experience to parents, wherein they can see real-time data about their students' fees, payments, dues, and everything related to that on a simple mobile app screen. Next, please. Academics, critically important and the most important, I would say. So powering teachers who are doing the overall academic delivery activity is most important. Unless teacher is free to deliver the real value of teaching, they will be quite busy in the back-end operations. So having a mobile first cloud solution to manage all the attendance activities. So attendance is a critically important to measure as far as school activities are concerned. And teachers follow different models. Many of the schools again have their different model of recording attendance. It's every lecture wise, once in a day in the morning while students arrive and while they leave, lab wise attendance, elective subject wise attendance. All of those critical options are available of managing attendance, covering all of that, including software driven as well as hardware driven. That is covered in the attendance. Exam management. So once the lecture and the teaching delivery happens, measurement aspects of schools are usually weekly, monthly, or quarterly examinations. Scheduling the exams, notifying to students and parents about the schedule, executing the exams, and then scoring, grading the exams, and declaring the results. Entire flow of examination management, automated, mobile driven or web driven, and decentralized. So every teacher is doing their own job on their own screen, and the management people of the school and the respective students and parents are getting all the updates on as a notification on the app to real-time track the activities of the exams. Then comes lesson plan. So every subject has a scheduled lessons to finish before the year end, and tracking those lessons, communicating on lesson delivery to the parents, and management bird view of the progress of lessons in different classrooms for different subjects can really save a lot of time on decision making and the progress tracking. And that's what beautifully crafted in lesson planning. Academic calendar. We used to see a lot of notice board in our schools just to see what is coming up next as an academic plan or calendar. Having that mobile first and with real-time updates. If there is any change, quickly notify to all the stakeholders without any hassle is what brings the connected efficiency of all the stakeholders. Is covered there. Then comes homework and assignment. Power to communicate regarding homework and assignment through the mobile first approach is simply amazing, wherein a teacher moving out of the class and notifying it on the app. So while the kid is at home, parents are well aware what is planned for the homework activity or anything after school activity for the kid. The beauty of real-time communication, and then eventually throughout the year producing report cards and the final year and exam results, totally automated, computerized, without any offline activities, can save hundreds of hours of evaluators and the final administrative team. So that's what academics management comes in through My Class Campus. Next, please, Faisal. Operations are critically important. At times, we have seen teachers getting engaged into operational delivery of the school because of limitations of resources, all of those reasons. So it starts with ID card generation to certificate printing and all that for students for different activities. Having that automated can give a different level of power to the operational efficiency. Then comes HR management. So all the leave applications of teachers and staff, and real-time updating those data with the HR management tool and the respective colleagues of this institute can give next level of real-time updates overall regarding the HR management. So that's where it's covered, and including salary management and all of those aspects of back-end HR operations. Then comes inventory management. School or educational institute is a highly asset-rich organization wherein they purchase hundreds of things from different vendors. Managing real-time inventory, managing real-time vendor data and purchase order data, and leveraging tool to assign the inventories to the right audience, and tracking the real-time flow of the inventory is something which can make overall purchase decision and distribution decisions super easy and efficient. That's what is covered in detail. Then comes transport management. It covers full-fledged GPS bus tracking, transport scheduling, pickup points, students assignment to different buses, and transport fee management to digitize the overall transport operations. Then is library management. So every school wishes to digitize the library operations and give freedom for student to request for a book without visiting the library, and checking real time from home which book is available at the library, so that they need not to waste time visiting the library and just checking out of the bookshelves. So that's where the library, and beyond this, having a management view about the library consumption by students to plan the next purchases of books and the availability of learning resources is what brings to the table. Then integrated finance management, which covers expense management, outgoing and incoming financial data, and having a single view of financial activities month-wise, quarter-wise, and full year on different heads is what saves a lot of time of the decision makers of the school to focus on. Then comes canteen management, a small module but can bring a lot of joy to parents about real-time status of the canteen menus day by day. Then comes visitor management to track all the outside visitors coming on the campus with real-time data. So those are the general aspects of operations management covered in the tool. Next, please, Faisal. Learning management, critically important. And I mean, digital and offline both are critically important as far as learning is concerned. So let's talk about first digital learning. So we have designed our proprietary live class technology, which doesn't only cover live class, but scheduling, notifying to parents of the classes, helping students join through mobile or web, and tracking the engagement of the students, attendance records, and giving freedom to teachers to record the live class sessions and having it accessible to students throughout the year, so that they can leverage the recordings for self-learning or revisions or as per their requirement. So this video conferencing technologies with whiteboard, polling, and a lot of other aspects which can bring next level of efficiency as far as teaching is concerned. Then comes content sharing, which covers images, documents, videos, or any form of learning materials in an organized manner on the system. Then assignments, all the LMS, I mean, teachers are pushing assignments to the students, assignment submission by the students through mobile or the web, whatever convenient to them, and then eventually grading those assignments and linking it to the progress report for end-to-end teaching and productivity tracking and eventual report card generations, and lesson plan mapping with the timetable, so that a scheduled class level lesson delivery tracking is what brings the next level of teaching and learning efficiency as far as teaching is concerned. So this is the combined umbrella of My Class Campus, which is helping educational institute to go end-to-end digital regarding their school or I mean academic operations concern. Next, please, Faisal. So beyond features, what are the key beauties of this platform? You can manage n number of multiple branches under a single dashboard. Quick setup. Within 2 days, a school with 1,000 students can go online without any physical meetings. Mobile first approach. All the stakeholders, principal, management, teachers, administrative staff, and students and parents all under a single platform. Real-time communication with push notifications, SMS, email, reminders, chats, and overall 360-degree view, along with user account for every user on the web and mobile. So that's the whole ecosystem of the product is designed. Next, please, Faisal. We have customers all around the world who are, joining in hands and signing up on the platform to go full-fledged digital. So there are some success stories of Africa and Philippines. I would like to highlight those who signed up very recently during the pandemic time and going full-fledged digital through our solutions. Next, please. So after having the tool, what if, most of the time parents and teachers are concerned, what if students use the smartphone for some unnecessary usage or over usage or unproductive usage? That's where expertise of Samsung kind of organization comes, wherein hardware with software embedded devices, which can set up the devices with the purpose of exclusive education access. That's where Samsung can come in play, where combined efforts of our kind of organizations and Samsung can bring end-to-end experience of hardware, software, tools, learning resources, and overall experience, which can bring the next level of efficiency in educational institutes. Next, please, Faisal. So students, while having Samsung tool Knox install in it, can easily concentrate because it is UI and overall experience is student friendly, and that's where students remain concentrated on their learning experience while they use a device for learning purpose. So I would recommend all the participants today to explore Samsung Knox along with the solutions offered by the panelists to have hands-on experience of the productivity possibilities while you come on board. Next, please. So in case you wish to see our product demo and real-time free demo access of the tool, we are quite available, directly reachable on the given contact numbers, email IDs. For any strategic opportunities, we can discuss and plan out to execute at a larger scale in any country around the world. And that's what is from our side. I think we don't have much time, but otherwise I wanted to share my screen with the mobile first approach we have. So the entire platform is mobile first designs, where power to teachers, administrators, parents and students is on mobile, so that they need not to visit computer screen for quick activities, but maybe you can explore it on our website or we can connect directly. That's what from my side. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you for taking us through the unique features and aspects of the Teachmint and the My Class program. Now, given
maybe we can move on to the Q&A part, because we do have a couple of questions. So
Sure.
will that be okay?
Sure, you can proceed.
Sure. So the first question that we have here is, I think, for KidsLoop. So the question is, how is the education experience tailored for students, and how exactly is it made more personalized. Jenna, would you like to take this one?
Sure. Thank you for the question. So, as we all mentioned, personalized learning that is tailored to the need of the student and the level of the student and the environment of the student really is the key. KidsLoop is trying to address those needs in several different attempts. First, our delivery, the flexible delivery, where the lesson plan could be delivered in the offline regular class, in the historically the regular class, the physical class, or whether it is remote delivery, live one, but in more engaged way, or giving it as a homework. So wherever the student is or student can be, the lesson could go on. So that's basic point to begin with. More importantly, we add data to the every lesson material and every lesson plan. Who is it for? What's the learning objective that this specific lesson material or lesson plan should serve? And what is the format of the content? And we record more than 10 different data vectors when the student have interactions with those specific lesson plans. That produces a lot of data to generate insight for the teachers and for the parents. So at the end of the day, the parents and the teachers can see what learning outcome have been achieved and what's the score and what's the specific area each of the student is struggling. And we will be rolling out the adaptive, tailored, auto-generated lesson plan depending on the student performance. So at the end of the day, each student will be getting all different tailored lesson plan suggestions. So that feature will be rolled out just in a couple of weeks' time. So that's one aspect. The other aspect, which I wanted to show a little bit more in the video, is we want to be flexible. We understand every learning environment and every school, the acceptance status or the variety and the spectrum of technology that has been reflected already, built into the class might be different. We don't want to force every school to drop everything else and just adopt KidsLoop instead. We would like to be in good shape to work with all the other existing partners, just like Chitra mentioned as an example. So let's say some schools have already ERP programs or content management system. What we say is don't drop those already well-working systems for you. Instead, our system is flexible to merge or integrate into those systems that you are using so that you can adopt what you need from KidsLoop in modularized manner. So that's the feature that is coming up very soon, later this year. So I just shared 3 examples and 3 different aspects of delivering this adaptive learning. I hope this explains a little bit.
Sure, thank you, Jenna. So the second question that we have is, what else can be improved on bridging the gap between less digitally mature markets to provide the same quality of education as the more mature markets? So Chitra, Raj, any one of you would like to take this one?
I'm working with, maybe Chitra, you are mute. Are you speaking something, Chitra?
Chitra.
Chitra, we cannot hear you. I think you are on mute.
Was saying something. He can continue, and then I will also add if there's anything.
Yeah, quick 2 minutes from my side. So I'm working with almost 50 plus schools in African countries, and you will be surprised to know the kind of execution we are doing today. I mean, we are signing up one school in Cameroon and one another country as well, with 1500 students. Within 2-3 days, they are going live digital. So the platform, which is easily accessible through mobile data, you need not a broadband connection to access the solution. First thing is that. Second thing, remote implementation. No need to visit even once to implement the solution. These two things are giving a huge confidence to them. And third thing, once you have platform ready, now smartphones are available in all the, those countries where internet is not there that much. So they record the videos at their own convenience. They go to a place where they find better internet, they upload the videos, and then they share it through the app. That's how they are managing the overall execution part. So what I feel is there is no much difference between the well-developed countries or these emerging countries as far as overall experience is concerned. And I'm sure we will see more that thing happening in emerging countries as well, due to internet penetration, smartphone availability, and teachers who are highly digital in order to understand the overall digital concepts due to the COVID. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I second whatever Raj has said. The bridge is definitely narrowing with very innovative and the way we develop this thing. But I think there is also this thing, right? If technology is the car, a basic road is important. But the quality of road, of course, will vary from and that's why you have so many different kind of cars. For rougher terrain and the smooth terrain and all of that. So I think all of us, like KidsLoop, Chrysalis, Teachmint, My Class Campus, we are all thinking this problem through this lens of we are not saying you need such and such a thing. I think the mobile first approach is so popular in India, unlike in South Korea, Jenna, where you have a lot of laptop availability or a tab. So the tablet or the phone is a more Indian kind of solution. So I think thinking through this, the gap is definitely narrowing. I just wanted to bring one more point, that when it comes to learning, and I'm here talking about learning as a very key priority, we need to think through what is the best way to bring this hybrid model as well, right? So how do you prioritize between synchronous, asynchronous, and offline? So the videos, etc., are there for asynchronous, anytime, anything. And then you have certain materials that need not have an online experience. So I think it's a prioritization, and the right pie is going to help us in this. Yeah.
Definitely, Chitra. So there is one more question. Any of our panelists can take that. So what are some misconceptions about EdTech today among the educators?
I can take that if it's if it's okay with the other panelists, or if anyone wants to, I'm fine with it, because I know the kind of misconceptions that are happening. First of all, I think the nuance of an synchronous, asynchronous. The pandemic made everything so important in a synchronous manner, because we all just felt, oh, we are missing out on school. So everybody went into the live class, which was important. But I think moving further, when we talk about tech, we should look at it from a difference between a school tech and an ed tech. First of all, whatever we are talking about as the non-learning, I know all this, or even what Raj presented, a lot of it is towards learning. But then there are some things like fee payment or administrative aspects which is more an enabler for learning rather than edtech itself. And when it comes to edtech, you talk about synchronous, asynchronous, and offline. And most of them have a misconception. They say edtech means they think it's online or synchronous learning. So that myth, that is a big misconception. The other misconceptions could be that, when there is no, on the device itself, right? I mean, how important, what kind of device is important? How do I prioritize those? So schools generally struggle with all this. So people like us, companies like us now, we are in a phase when there is so much of education that needs to be given to this community to bust some of these myths. The biggest misconception I would like to end with is, oh, the pandemic is gone, so we don't need technology. I think we are in a self-destructive mode if we say that, because I think the pandemic, the only good part of pandemic is ushered us into a more leveling technological enablement of education. So my plea for educators has always been, don't regress and go back. You know, you don't say the car is only for a certain time and then you go back to carriages, horse carriages. So we've already come fast into the new model. So let's pick and choose wisely and not discard technology. As I know there is a fatigue. People are like, oh, enough of this. My child has to go to school and learn. But giving up on technology just because there is some semblance of normalcy coming is the biggest misconception I would like to warn all of us here.
Totally agree to that, Chitra. So there is one more question. Faisal, maybe you can take this one. So the question is, how are the Samsung devices specifically catered to education? So, and there is one more question, as in any specific features that will enable easy and smooth online examinations experience. Faisal, would you like to take that one?
Sure, Sneha. So, okay, if time permits, I would like to share one slide on, on this aspect, probably to highlight or to, you know, let people relate with all this. Sec. So the
Sure,
major
Faisal, go
aspect,
ahead.
when we talk from the hardware specification, not just hardware specification, it's not just about having the hardware and, highest RAM as the major criteria for all this, right? When we look at the device from a whole, we have the major, differentiating factors as opposed to others in the market that can probably help a student with their learning and the teachers who can, effectively teach. Now, with the platforms that are available from our partners, right? From the hardware perspective, when we talk about, we have powerful technology coming in the form of vivid screen, the screen size varying from an 8.7-inch screen to 12-inch screen, TFT, Super AMOLED screens, uh, good for, viewing the content, experiencing the various, AR, VR based functionalities, as well as, with functionalities like blue light filters, uh, you know, uh, eye comfort shield, all these features already ingrained to ensure that a student can use the device without getting any fatigue. That's the major problem. You use a laptop or a tablet for a duration of time, and after that, you will have either some or the other trouble with focusing. You'll not be able to look at the content, or otherwise later on, as the children grows up, they will have some of the other eye related issues. On top of it, we have large memory with support for micro SD cards that can be plugged in to ensure that all the content, whether it be textbook, documents, videos, that can be saved and referred to as and when required. uh, Powerful chipsets ingrained, all their battery life, enhanced connectivity, touchscreen, AR camera support, all these are available. On top of it, we have the S Pen for the S series tablets available, coming inside the box without an additional cost, which provides authentic and comfortable writing experience and added benefits with support from Samsung Notes to allow anybody to write or take down notes, having an experience similar to what we have on a pen and a paper based tools, right? uh, these functionalities can also be extended to applications like Microsoft Office, applications that have the Android application ingrained in them, right? Customization and management, I'll cover that in the coming slide, along with the security builds from the chipset to prevent any data loss, to ensure that the sensitive data is protected, and to ensure that the device can be only used for academic purposes by blocking certain applications and websites that are pre-installed or can be installed or side loaded on the device. Now let me cover very quickly on the security perspective. For anybody, from a personal, not from a personal perspective, for any institute giving out devices to the teachers and the students, they can look at three categories: either prevention of loss and protection from the theft. Then we have two tools that are available, that is Samsung Care Plus for business, providing coverage and accidental damage protection, extended warranties. Knox Guard as a tool which can be used as a notification tool, as well as remotely locking of devices. Then we have configuration tools, namely Knox Configure, to configure large number of devices to a specific academic usage, which includes blocking applications, usage restrictions from URL, applications, notifications, and rebranding of the shutdown animation, boot animation, wallpapers to ensure to make the device feel like it's from an institute rather than from Samsung, right? Then ongoing management, if an institute wants to manage the device during the device life cycle, then we have complete management tool supporting Android, iOS, and Windows 10 devices altogether, right? Uh, Added benefits will be remote troubleshooting, location tracking at every particular duration, policies being triggered at a particular event, such as location. So if the device is within the school, uh, automatically all the applications will get logged, and only education based applications are accessible. The moment device comes out of the premises, the all the other applications will automatically get enabled. Dedicated kiosks with single applications, multiple applications, basis the necessity or the need required. And along with that, for device protection, we also have Samsung Care Plus for business. For kids, we also give a Samsung Kids mode, which comes pre-installed, pre-enabled in almost all of our Samsung devices, including smartphones and tablets. If we have the right requirement coming in, we can also customize these for the usage for the kids. The major aspect being, restricting the usage of the application. And as Chitra rightly, brought up the point that, uh, the access of the kids and the internet and the smartphone being available for the right usage, uh, and to make it edutainment, right? An education with entertainment for them. We have few quirky applications as well as content available pre-installed on this platform. Along with that, education, our partners can bring in contents that can be interactive and learning for the kids, right? So this is what the differentiating factor that we have from Samsung devices and the platform available for any, and everybody to make use of.
Sure. Thank you so much, Faisal. So just one last question, and this one is for Teachmint. So since the LMS allows for teachers to perform their normal tasks digitally without a centralized content, how will the checking or verification of lesson plans be reviewed? So
So,
Raj, would you like
if
to
it is
take it?
related to, so our, yeah, definitely. So our lesson plan is like tracking the flow of teachers' delivery, wherein there are every subjects is having multiple chapters, and every chapter is having multiple topics. So while the offline classroom continues, once a teacher is delivering 5 topics of one chapter, how the teacher will be notifying to parents, to principal or management person, that these things are finished today in the class. Or if the teacher is behind, the schedule plan was 5 topics, but the covered is 2 topics. They're lagging 2 topics. There were 2 holidays, uncertain holidays for a subject. So they're lagging 2 chapters to finish the syllabus on time. So tracking those part on the platform is what, so basically it is a management aspect. Usually principal call for teachers meeting just to get an overview, how much is finished and what is going on basically. So that part. And we are working out more on bringing content creators on our platform in the coming months, wherein having different content providers content accessible on our LMS will be the next experience to the teachers and the students. Thank you.
Sure, thank you so much, Raj. So I think with that we can end the Q&A now. So Faisal, can you please share the last slide? So firstly, a very big thank you to all our panelists. So thank you so much, Raj and Ekansh, Jenna and Chitra for joining us today. Like, though the time got extended a bit, but the webinar was really very informative and it was really nice to understand about all the solution offerings. And thank you so much to all our listeners who were patiently listening to the webinar today. So you can reach out to any of us on the given email IDs in case of any queries, and hope you all have a great day ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Stay safe. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you all.